Let's be honest. When we think of the Amazon, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Probably its size, right? Just massive. It's the largest rainforest on Earth. But what if I told you that its incredible size isn't even the most extraordinary thing about it? We're going to dive into how this place functions. And believe me, it's way cooler than just being big.
And this quote, this really gets to the heart of what we're exploring. We're going to look at the Amazon not as just a location on a map, but as a single living thing, an entity with its own way of breathing, its own circulatory system, its own way of surviving. It's a total shift in perspective and, honestly, it changes everything.
So how does a forest breathe? And no, I'm not just talking about photosynthesis here. We're talking about something on a much grander scale. How this massive organism actively keeps itself alive by pulling in life from places you would never, ever expect. Now, don't get me wrong, the size is absolutely staggering. At over 5.5 million square kilometers, it's almost as big as the entire United States east of the Mississippi. But as we're saying, the real marvel isn't just its scale, it's how it all works. It has these interconnected systems that operate on a continental level. It's wild. And get this, one of its most vital, life-giving systems actually starts thousands of kilometers away in a place you'd think would be its polar opposite. This brings us to a truly incredible connection between a vast desert and a lush rainforest. That's right. The health and the vitality of the Amazon are directly linked to the Sahara Desert. It is one of those mind-bending facts of nature that sounds almost impossible, but it turns out to be one of the most important relationships on the entire planet. So picture this. Every single year, a truly staggering 180 million tons of dust are lifted up from the Sahara Desert and begin this epic journey across the ocean. The scale of that is just, it's almost impossible to imagine. And that dust travels nearly 7,000 kilometers. It's carried by atmospheric winds all the way from Africa to South America. It's such a brilliant illustration of just how interconnected all of our planet systems really are. Okay, so here's the crucial part. This isn't just plain old sand. This dust is packed with phosphorus, an absolutely essential nutrient that, believe it or not, the Amazon soil is actually lacking. This annual delivery of Saharan dust is basically the Amazon inhaling its food. It's a vital nutrient delivery system that keeps the entire ecosystem alive. All right, so we've seen how the Amazon breathes. Now let's take a look at how it circulates life. You see, it has a kind of circulatory system, but it operates on two levels at the same time. One we can see on the ground, and another that's completely hidden, high up in the sky. This is another one of those game-changing ideas. The Amazon isn't just a passive bystander getting rained on. With hundreds of billions of trees all releasing water vapor, a process called transpiration, the forest actively creates its own weather. A single large tree can release over 1,000 liters of water into the air in a single day. And this process creates something scientists beautifully call flying rivers. These are massive, invisible corridors of moisture flowing through the atmosphere. And here's the really incredible part. Some of these atmospheric rivers carry more water than the actual famous Amazon River flowing on the ground below it. And this is where that whole living organism analogy really just clicks into place. The forest effectively has two circulatory systems. On the ground, you've got the rivers and streams branching out like veins, and then, right above them in the sky, you have these flying rivers moving along similar paths, acting like arteries. This dual system is constantly redistributing water, allowing the organism to feed itself. Okay, so we've seen how this organism breathes and how it circulates life. It feels powerful, right? Doesn't it? Immense, almost invincible. But this complex system, built on these incredible connections that span oceans and continents, well, it's surprisingly fragile. So we have to ask the difficult question. This whole thing is a delicate dance of global forces. What happens if one of the partners falters? What happens if that transoceanic lifeline of nutrients is somehow disrupted or even cut? Well, the consequence is stark, and it's very direct. Without that annual gift of phosphorus from the Sahara, the very foundation of the Amazon's nutrient cycle would start to crumble. The world's largest rainforest, this vibrant living organism, would begin to weaken. And that's really the main takeaway from all of this. The Amazon's resilience is not guaranteed. Its very existence depends on a beautiful, delicate, and largely invisible balance of forces that, frankly, we are only just beginning to fully understand. And this leaves us with a final and much larger question. The Amazon's connection to the Sahara is just one of these hidden lifelines. It really makes you wonder, how many other invisible, fragile connections does our entire planet depend on for its survival?